Okay, we are on the air. Okay, Joe Solo. All right, so this is Premiere. Premiere has workspaces. I think the standard workspace is editing when you open the program, and it's got your main composite window over here, and it's got your editing stuff over here. It's got your libraries down here and your audio meters here. I have a very similar setup. I just created for myself that kind of just refines the different spaces for what I'm doing, but same basic idea. So this is the timeline down in the lower right, and you're familiar with the timeline. These are the video tracks up here. You can see those have little eyeballs for turning them on and off in terms of what you can see. And then the audio tracks are down here, and they've got the mute microphone buttons there. So that's an easy way to tell where the line is. You can see the line right here, and you can scroll up. Well, I guess there's not enough audio tracks, but if you have more audio tracks down here, then it gives you the scrollability just like it does up here for the video stuff. So that way you can get to your hierarchy. So this is already the sequence. I mean, basically, you're going to open the project. You're going to go to Open Project, and you're going to open, whatever file Jeff sent you that has your intro, your outro, and then your overlays. And these are the overlays that have your lower third and your credits roll through, or credits crawl, as they call it. Anyway, so assuming that Jeff has this set up for you properly, I kind of had to recreate my own just because we were lacking some of the files, and so I recreated my own. You'll see what that looks like, but it's not really, doesn't matter. It's just placeholder stuff for the purposes of this video. All right, let's go ahead and bring in some raw footage. So here's some Joe Solo content here on my downloads. I'm just going to drag that onto the timeline. You can see the audio here. Now, before I start cutting, I just have to fix a few things. This is done in 4K, so I'm just gonna cut my size in half. Here's some basic controls over the position and the size of the video. And when you have it clicked, that's when this editing information is available. You also have an audio mixer over here, so you can switch back and forth with the tabs up at the top. Those are generally the only two I mess with. Now, before I start cutting this up, I do want to treat the audio a little bit. I'm going to steal my compressor from over here. In fact, I'm going to grab both of them. This is just let me show you how to do it from scratch. Okay, so I'm just going to, in my effects here, I'm going to type in compressor, and I'm going to spell it the way they do. Oh, I thought I spelled it that way yesterday. It didn't come up. All right, so I'm going to do two compressors. I'm going to do one. I'm going to leave on broadcast. Let me just see where my level's at. I'll punch that up a little bit. And then I'm going to bring another one in, and I'm going to set this one up on a classical. Okay, I'm not sure if you can hear the audio from this because the audio source is just keyed to the microphone that I'm on, so I'll try to crank this up so if I do play it, you can hear stuff. There we go. All right, so now I just put a light compressor on.
Why only one of those ways is the way that I...
Okay, so now it's time to edit. Now, again, I told you when you were here that I edit in a very non-typical fashion according to like traditional editors who would have the footage in their library over here, and they would pull it up over here, and they'd get their in and out points, and then they'd insert it in the timeline. Screw all that. It's a waste of time. I'm just going to bust right into it. Here's my whole raw footage, and I'm just going to start playing it, and I'm going to start cutting stuff that I don't want out of it.
All right, today this one is about you guitarists out there. You guys are going to get a video right now.
Okay, that was a take one.
Okay, today's video is for the guitarists.
All right, so we're going to get rid of all this. For now, I'll just leave it there, but I know I'm going to eliminate that in a minute.
Okay, today's video is for the guitarists. The 3 ways to hold.
Okay, so obviously I don't want that how word in there, right?
How the
Okay. So we're going to start here. We're going to end there. And we're going to get rid of this. I'm just switching between my cursor. Like my arrow is the main pointer as usual in every other program there is. And this is a little fat, you know, here. I'll just trim that down a little bit so there's not so much pause. Because, you know, pause is dead air, and dead air is people getting distracted and leaving the video.
The guitars. The 3 ways to hold a guitar pick and why.
Okay, so right there I had a lot of delays because I was thinking about what I was talking about. And so we're going to get rid of these kind of natural pauses to give more energy to this guy. And so we're just going to click. And right now the audio and the video are linked, so I'm just editing all of them together. I don't have to do them separately. I would keep them linked. There's a Command L that links and unlinks. It toggles between them. So let's see what that whole sequence looks like so far.
The 3 ways to hold a guitar pick and why only one of those ways is the way that I play.
All right, so again, a lot of delays. So let's get rid of those. And that one little blip that you saw on there, it probably looks like a lip smack or something. So I'm just automatically going to get rid of that. Now, of course, if I'm listening back and I'm missing a word or something, then I can always pull it back out. I'll show you that in a second.
I play. Now, here's the first way.
Okay, so we are going to get rid of this dead space. Again, you know, a lot of real-time thinking about what I'm going to say, so I'm just going to get rid of these. All right, and so you can see the process here. Now, I'm not editing content out right now just because there really is none to work with, but you would also be editing and maybe eliminating, and we'll do a mock version of that. Let's see.
I play. Now, here's the first way. You just hold it with 2 fingers and a thumb, and you strum like this. Bing, boom, bing, bing, bong, bong, bong. All right, here's the second way. You hold it like this, and you let it wobble.
All right. So, all right. So let's say, you know, I don't want to extend that so long. Okay. So that second one was superfluous. So let's just get rid of that. And so we're going to go. So this is an example of just, you know, cutting some content that you don't need.
All right, and here's the third way. You just hold it like you're smoking a cigarette, and you just...
Okay, so here's a good edit.
Smoking a cigarette. All
right, we could cut from there to there. We'll just do that. All right, and then I don't know why empty space bugs me so much, but because I watch a lot of YouTube videos, if somebody takes forever to make a point, I leave the video. I cannot stand meandering monologues.
Way, you just hold it like you're smoking a cigarette. All right, well, that's how you hold it.
Okay, so we're gonna...
All right, well, that...
Yeah, we don't really need that all right, and we definitely don't need that lip smack in there, so we're just gonna get rid of both of those. And then let's see how this marries together.
Well, that's how you hold it. Those are the 3 ways to hold a guitar.
Okay, so let's...
Those are the 3...
All right, so we're just gonna We already know that this is our endpoint. So let's just roll it back a little bit and just make sure.
Cigarette. Those are the three ways to hold a guitar pick, but the way I like to hold it the most, and the reason I like to hold it like this.
Okay, so let's eliminate some of this stuff.
Hold the guitar pick, but the way I like to hold it the most.
Okay, hold on.
Those are the three ways to hold a guitar pick.
Okay, so we're just gonna, that's one statement.
But the way I like to hold it the most, and the reason I like to hold it like this.
Okay. So we're gonna get rid of all this, right? And then we're gonna get rid of this. Boom, 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 boom. All right, I don't even know what I'm eliminating. I mean, I'm eliminating dead air, but I don't even know if the content is keepable or if this is even going to make sense once I put it together. Let's find out.
Hold the guitar pick. I like to hold it like this, and the reason is because it gives you a cool look, like when you're smoking. Everybody knows that smokers are cool, so if you want to be cool with a guitar pick, you have to hold it like a cigarette.
All right, well that's you don't necessarily have to agree with the content that you're editing. Let's see.
All right, there you go. You heard it first, right here.
All right, let's leave that in there because that's stupid. All right, so we're gonna
You heard it first, right here.
Okay, so this is this is it. So this is our edited content right here, done in real time. And here's our outro. This whole slab is our outro. Here's our underlying music. It's already kind of prepped. And here's our overlays. And here's our intro here. So we're going to smash this up right to the intro. So we're going to find out where that is.
Hey, it's Joe Solo, and it's time for another one of my snippets.
Okay, so let's see exactly where the video ends, and we can hit the up arrow to go to the last clip. So that's going to be snippet time, and then yeah. So let's, and we can hit the front and back arrows. So I'm gonna lay the clip in here just so it's a quick cut. And now you could do what's called nesting. So hold the control key and go here to nest, and that'll make all of this just one chunk of video. But if you want to go back and edit it, then you have to double click on it, and you're editing in a different sequence. And then, you know, when you finish your edit, go back to this sequence. I don't like doing that unless I know I'm not going to go back and edit that. So I'll just show you what that looks like. So this is easier to click and drag because we're not going to re-edit this stuff. But in real life, you might want to retain that. Okay, so Joe content 1. All right, so now this is just looks like one clip, and it's easier to manage and look at and so forth. So, and then here's my overlay stuff up here. Make sure we grab it all. And so I'm going to have this come in. Oh, let's see how it comes in here with a little delay. Okay, so let's watch our whole thing so far.
Hey, it's Joe Solo, and it's time for another one of my snippets. Okay, today's video is for the guitars. The 3 ways to hold the guitar pick, and why only one of those ways is the way that.
Okay, so a couple things right off the bat. We need the overlays to come in sooner. So I'm going to move these up to shortly after the clip starts. And then I am going to lower this music significantly because it's way too hot. Okay, where'd it go? Whoops. All right. So this down here, as you can see what I'm doing, it just changes the view so you can get a little more precision going. And then look over here. When these turn blue, it means we're on that particular. Yeah. So now if I'm adjusting this, I'm not creating a new keyframe. You don't want to do that because you'll have a billion keyframes right on top of each other, and then you'll wonder why certain weird ghosty things are happening, but it's not really. It's just the computer's trying to do simultaneous functions. So you always want to be editing an existing point, or just delete that and re-enter the value that you want to put in. So I'm going to put in negative 15 dB. Let's see how that sounds.
Today's video is for the guitars. The 3 ways to hold the guitar pick.
Now, of course, the lower third there is in the right spot. I obviously didn't frame my shot properly. I was doing a selfie and chopped off my body. So who cares? It's just for the demo here.
Now, here's the first way. You just hold it with 2 fingers and a thumb.
So each one of these elements is represented here. This is the gray bar here, right here. So if you turn this off, you'll see the gray bar disappear. This is your name. And then this up here is the crawl. So you can kind of see how these things are laid out. I would just leave these as is and just move them to the appropriate. This is probably going to be the appropriate starting spot from here on out. So I would just probably just leave this stuff.
3 ways to hold the guitar pick, and why only one of those ways is the way that I play. Now, here's the first way. You just hold it with 2 fingers and a thumb, and you strum like this. Bing, boom, bing, bing, boom, boom.
All right, so this background music is still a little hot, so let's not spend too much time on this. So we're just gonna, there we go. Let's just go to -20. And then let's see what happens. Okay, so here is my outro. So we're just going to smash that right up. So let's see what this looks like. And let's also, yeah, there's no more. Okay, so.
Hold it like a cigarette. You heard it first, right here. All right, if you like the video, like, subscribe, follow, thumbs up, whatever. Remember, I'm Joe Solo, and I'm always in your corner.
All right, so then we're just going to make that the end of the video. And Command-Shift-D gives you a fade for audio, and then Command-D gives you a fade or dissolve for the video. I'm going to stretch this out a little bit so it takes a little longer to fade out. And then it looks like the video elements all kind of get moved from the screen because that's just how I did this particular thing. But you're not going to have to go back and re-edit your intros and outros. Those are static, so you just leave them as is.
And I'm always in your corner.
All right, so that's going to be our out point for the video. It'll stop at the end of the sequence, so you can just use that, and then use the up and down, the down in this case to move back. Push the I for in point. And again, back here, we push the O for out. So in and out, the in and out points are what it's going to render. So let's go ahead and do Command M. And we want to make sure our timeline is the one with the blue line around it that's active. If we're up here in this window and do Command M, nothing happens. So, or maybe something bad happens. Let's not find out. Okay, so we're going to use this. And I know that in this outro, it doesn't have the .com and all of that. So who cares? It's just the way it is for this example. YouTube JR new. Okay. So I just made my own settings up here for other videos, and I just used them for this. But you can use the same as the sequence, the default. And then I'll just put Joe Solo snippet number 1 video. I don't know, whatever. I'm sure you have a naming convention that you'll use. So I'm just doing the export. You can also add it to the queue. If you're editing like 4 or 5 of these and you want to just render them all at the same time, you can add them to the queue. And then it'll just send them to the queue. And then when you're done sending all the sequences that you want to render to the queue, you can go to the queue, which is just another little program that launches from Adobe. It's called the Media Encoder. You can go there and just hit the go button, and then the 4 or 5 or 20 sequences that you loaded in the queue will just render one after another. So you can literally leave, and maybe, with that much content, it might be a few hours of rendering. So you just leave, go about your business, do your thing, do other stuff. And when you come back, all your videos are sitting pretty in a nice little folder waiting for you to upload. And, maybe you upload one a week or whatever. So it's just a good way to knock out a bunch of work in one fell swoop, kind of production style, like you're making a car. Like, it's going down the assembly line. You're going to do all the content cutting for 5 videos in one session. Then you're going to place and export all of the videos to the queue, and then you're going to launch the queue and you're going to leave. And so every time you sit down to edit videos, you might have a mandate for yourself to do 5. I'm going to do 5 snippets or 10 snippets or 20 snippets, depending on, how much contiguous available time you have and how flubbed up the material is. Obviously, if you're pretty clean. And that's the other thing that I've learned a lot with doing these videos is I think like an editor when I'm actually performing the content, and I think about my ums and uhs and, all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure this is old hat for you because you've done a lot of public speaking and so forth. But there's a different way of thinking as a presenter of information when you know that you're going to have to go back and edit it later. So you tend to self-edit and make sure that you're, still sounding natural, but you're not putting a bunch of stuff in there that you're going to cut out. So that makes the editing process quicker. And then also, if you edit quicker to when you recorded the content, it'll be more intuitive to you because the content will still be in your brain, and you'll kind of almost psychically be able to cut the content quicker just because you're more intimately familiar with it. Whereas if you grab content that you recorded last year, it's almost like watching somebody else speaking because you kind of forgot that session, and so you have to listen to every word and make sure everything is clean like you would if you're cutting somebody else's content. So anyway, I tend to like to cut it as soon after recording it as possible, so that way I can rely more on intuition, and that speeds things up dramatically as well. It's one of my points of efficiency in my new small business enterprising book. And of course, none of that exists. So we're not going to sit here and wait for this to render because that would be a waste of time. Because I have this on like a nice quality output mode where it does it does 2 passes to crush it down and so forth. So it's a little more particular about bits and bytes and takes a little bit longer. So we're going to cut the video, and then I'll jump back in when this is done, and we'll watch the finished product together, and then I will send this video to you, and then you'll tell me why it didn't work and why it was inadequate and why it doesn't change anything like all my other advice. All right, love you, buddy. See ya. Hey, it's Joe Solo, and it's time for another one of my snippets. Okay, today's video is for the guitars. The 3 ways to hold a guitar pick, and why only one of those ways is the way that I play. Now, here's the first way. You just hold it with 2 fingers and a thumb, and you strum like this. Bing, bong, bing, bing, bong, bong, bong. All right, here's the second way. You hold it like this, and you let it wobble. All right, and here's the third way. You just hold it like you're smoking a cigarette. Those are the 3 ways to hold a guitar pick. I like to hold it like this, and the reason is because it gives you a cool look, like when you're smoking. Everybody knows that smokers are cool, so if you want to be cool with a guitar pick, you have to hold it like a cigarette. You heard it first, right here.
Alright, if you like the video, like, subscribe, follow, thumbs up, whatever. Remember, I'm Joe Solo, and I'm always in your corner.